welcome to another episode of Core Discussions. I'm Legacy.
And I'm Max.
I'm Bobby.
Fine, Jay.
So we're going to start off with a goodie but a favorite with the Thursday night game. The Falcons losing to the Carolina Panthers. And we'll start off with our kitten corner. And go ahead.
Yeah, much as I want them to lose, it's always nice to see the Falcons lose at the same time. It's a double-edged sword, really.
Oh, let it go, guys. Let it go.
While the Panthers won, the tragedy has befallen the Panthers. We must now endure Baker Mayfield again. I'm fully confident that if Matt Rule was still the coach, the Panthers would not have 3 wins. Like I said, the Panthers are just a few pieces away from being really good because they got defensive pieces. They need a linebacker.
Are they a few pieces away? Are they? They're missing one very important piece, and they're not easy to find.
I mean, and position-wise, it is the most important piece, actually.
No,
Just a little.
Some teams, some teams don't need a quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Name one.
Broncos when they beat the Panthers.
I mean, they still had Peyton Manning's mind, at least. And they won't go win that game with Brock Osweiler.
If only Brock Osweiler was starting.
I don't think they get there with Brock Osweiler. Honestly.
Right. I don't think they beat the Patriots.
I don't
no.
think they get past the Patriots. But even then, like, they had one of the greatest defenses showing up. So unless you have one of the greatest defenses, which
Right.
I don't know how much you want to really hope that happens for you.
It's rare.
They got 2 solid D linemen, Derek Brown, Byron Burns, J.C. Horn. I only got his first interception, not off Jameis Winston.
We'll have to see what happens next year with the cornerback group because Dante Jackson tore his Achilles, and that's a tough one to come back from.
And so did what I thought they would do because Mariota is a terrible quarterback who should not be
Hey,
starting.
can we speak about how bad Mariota was this game? I only wish that stupid throw he had. The fact that he even had the gall to even attempt that throw, it should have counted as a pick.
It should have. It was horrendous. I saw him. There's no way you thought that was a good idea. There's no way.
His numbers for the game weren't very good, but he played even worse than his numbers indicate. He was truly terrible, just awful. I don't know what Ritter needs to do to get on the field.
Maybe Ritter will actually throw it to Kyle Pitts, one of the more explosive tight ends. No, it's just a thought. I don't know if it's like Kyle Pitts insulting him in some way, but it feels personal. Especially with the amount of overthrows he had that game, it felt like he intentionally was overthrowing him.
It's only a matter of time before Ritter gets in here, because I think eventually the Falcons are not going to believe that they have any shot at playoffs, because I'm going to assume the Buccaneers will win out, or not win out, but win enough games to where the Falcons can't keep pace.
I think they might as well go with Ritter because even if you make the playoffs, you're not going to win.
Right, I don't know why they would want to make playoffs. They're clearly not going to be making any noise. So
No
go ahead
one is
and
fearing
take their
the
lumps.
Falcons.
Not even the Panthers, who almost beat them twice.
Yeah, like I said, and the NFL had to tell the refs to use common sense about the taking the helmet off penalty.
We'll talk about the refs later. I got a big axe to grind.
So let's go into our next game. It was my boy, the GOAT, Tom Brady, now has won in 4 separate countries. There's another stat I like to throw out there. Taking control of their division.
Oh, like that was so hard to do.
You know, it was a little rough for them.
The other teams are pretty much begging them to do it. Yeah, but the Bucks really need this win, and hopefully this means they're back on track. They looked a lot better this game. They only scored 21 points, but as a whole, defensively and offensively, I thought this was the best they've looked in a while.
You know what they did? They ran the ball. Ran it 44 times as opposed to throwing it 30, which it was hilarious watching Fournette try to throw the ball to Brady, and he just slipped and fell.
Speaking of that, was one of the dumbest play calls I've ever seen in my life. That's not quite on the Colts fake punt tier. But still, this is up there. That was a really bad call because they were moving the ball. They didn't need to do that at all.
And to me, I was like, why are you throwing it to Tom Brady?
Now, the only reason is because no one would expect it, which there's a reason no one would expect it because it would be a dumb thing to do.
When I saw him run the route and saw him fall, I was like, yeah, that's an easy interception.
It would have been even if Brady didn't fall. I mean, the ball. Leonard Fournette, Leonard Fournette panicked and threw it up.
You gotta put it on the money for him to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, he may not catch it. Like, was it the Super Bowl where he dropped that wide open pass?
Sure was. It sure was.
He's no Nick Foles of catching the football. Well, Julio's healthy for now.
Yeah, Julio, Rashad White looking like he's probably going to be taking that running back spot. I think he also has looked a little more dangerous, like as a speed guy, especially like in some of his late runs were pretty good. Yeah, Brady's starting to connect a little bit with Julio, so it's kind of just keeping him. So maybe this might be like them just putting it together at the right time, because as everybody knows, it's January. You want your team to peak.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go into the next game, probably the biggest game of the weekend, it was the Vikings with the upset over the Bills.
And this was a good
Overtime,
game.
33 to
Good game.
30. It was a heck of a game.
Everyone,
Now,
Josh Allen's MVP.
for now, I mean, we'll have to see. But yeah, he struggled this game. 3 turnovers, costly red zone. I think he might have thrown 2 picks in the red zone this game.
He did. He did.
Yeah, this was not his best day. But still, even with him playing poorly, they still scored 30 points. And this was now, I said last week, if the Vikings won this game, I would believe in them more. I'm starting to believe them a bit more. Especially if Justin Jefferson's going to keep doing these greatest catches of all time and things. I mean, that's up there. That's got to be up there with Odell Beckham. That catch was insane.
Yeah, so there's no way that man caught that ball. Man, this should be a lesson to all defensive backs. This 4th down to win the game, just bat it down. Just bat it down if that guy has a chance to catch it.
Well, especially if it's Justin Jefferson over there.
Yeah, so if you bat it down, the game's over.
This game, both quarterbacks here pretty much have identical stat lines, really. Both had over 300 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
Yeah.
Now, with this, are the Bills in second place now in the division, or are they still in first?
I think that was second.
They're
I
second
think
place in the
it's a tiebreaker.
conference.
No, Miami's ahead. They're 7-3.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
right.
Bills are
Actually, the
third.
Bills are third.
Now.
Bills are third right now because they lost to the Jets too.
The Jets too, yeah. Big loss. And the Bills have kind of struggled in close games so far this year. That's kind of that can be a worry because once you get to playoff games, it's going to be like you're going to have a lot of close games.
Yeah,
And
Josh
they-
Allen is turning the ball over a lot. He's
Yeah.
leading the league in picks.
Also, Josh Allen, I saw this stat. So his first half compared to his second half in overtime. So in the first half, Josh Allen's completion percentage is 68%. His second half is 59.9. His passer rating is 107.3 in the first half. In the second half, it's 82.4. The more concerning stat is in the first half, he's 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. In second half, he's 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. On the stretch, is he performing to still the same level that he is? And, as you get in, it's
The past-
the halves that can end up destroying you.
Last 3 games, he has 3 touchdowns to 6 picks.
I think still the Bills are still going to make the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. And once you get to playoffs, if you have a quarterback, Josh, even though he's struggling right now, he's still the top 3 quarterback. So in the playoffs, still not a team I want to mess around against. And after we saw last year's playoff, Josh Allen took it to another level in there. So I'm still not too concerned about them. But I do think that the Chiefs maybe have overtaken them as the favorite to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC side.
Yeah. And Bills, once they get Tre'Davious White back, maybe the defense will be a little bit better because they will have a good corner.
I think.
Yeah, Jordan Poyer, I think, will come back at some point. The other safety, Micah Hyde, is not coming back at all. So
No.
the defense, they've got some injury issues.
We'll see over these next couple weeks. They have a couple games up. If they keep it up and have another bad game and lose 3 in a row, then probably the panic's going to be like, okay, maybe they've lost some steam or something.
They play the Browns and then Lions. If they drop either one of those,
Yeah.
I'd be concerned.
Very much. Shout out to the Vikings, though. As we said, we've been waiting for that bit. That was a big win. That is a big win, statement win for them of beating the Bills.
One of the biggest wins of Kirk Cousins' career, probably.
Very true. We'll go into our next game. It was the Detroit Lions beating the Chicago Bears.
We'll talk about Justin Fields in a minute, but look at the last 3 games. The defense allowed this many points: 49, 35, 31. You're not going to win too many games with the defense coughing out that many points.
Well, I would say, in their defense, they didn't allow 31 last game because Justin Fields did throw a pick 6.
True.
25 they allowed.
Still, the point is they haven't been good, and they were good like for the first 6 or so games of the season, but then they traded away pretty much all their good defensive players. But Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson's rushing quarterback yardage record for a season is definitely in jeopardy. He's looking better and better each week. But saying that, I saw Dan Orlovsky say that if Justin Fields keeps playing this way, he's going to be an MVP conversation. And no matter how good he plays, he's not going to be an MVP conversation. Why, Dan? Because they're 3-7, and you know better. They're not going to nominate an MVP. He's not even going to be in the race for MVP since they're going to be probably, let's just say 5-12 at the end of the year. You're not even going to be close to MVP with that.
I'm like, they're not making playoffs.
That's why I don't listen to ESPN or any of them anymore, because they just say the dumbest stuff, dude.
I think Justin Fields will be a really good quarterback. They just need to get some wide receivers outside Darnell Mooney.
They're gonna try. I mean, the Ravens keep trying, but the issue is when you have a system that is more running than throwing, you're not going to attract the top tier free agent wide receivers. You just better hope you draft them.
It's been 10 games and he's averaging 20.7 passes a game.
I mean,
so
look,
in this day and age, you need to throw more.
well, I think a Ravens style offense could work for Justin Fields because he's clearly that spectacular of an athlete. But again, like I said, it's going to be hard to, like, people always ask every year, why don't the Ravens get Lamar some weapons? Well, as you're talking about free agency, like I said, wide receivers, they're all about some stats. They want their numbers, and they're not going to get it in Baltimore. So you're not going to attract the top tier receivers. You're just not going to.
That's how they get paid. You get paid off stats, and if you don't get the ball thrown to you, you don't really get paid for blocking. Also, the other thing with that team is, I mean, now that they got Justin Fields, they might be able to track somebody, but some receivers are also going to be like, well, are they like, was it a one-hit wonder, or do I have to, like, I got to see it again before I fully trust it and commit?
We'll see. They got a couple pieces. Claypool and Mooney are not bad. Definitely need to get better weapons. I would even say you could probably upgrade on David Montgomery. He's not bad, but we could do better.
And because they traded those defensive picks, they got draft capital was the big thing they were trying to get. The other side, Detroit Lions putting up 31 points.
2 wins in a row, baby. I mean, it's saving Dan Campbell's job.
Keep in the conversation. Now to go to a team and a coach that should probably be fired. Denver once again losing. They lost to Tennessee Titans 17 to 10. No way, I just don't know what you're doing. Like, they came off bye and they still lost.
They
Like,
can't do anything on offense.
But for the Broncos, they have the best defense in the league as far as limiting points. They're number one. I believe they allow, I don't know, let's just say 16 points or somewhere around there. But their offense only scores 14 points a game. So the offense is scoring less points than the defense allows, because 16 points allowed is elite. That is a Super Bowl talented defense right there. And this team should be in the playoffs. If they had even a mediocre offense, even a below average offense, not just the worst offense in the league. I've never seen this type of regression from a quarterback that we're seeing from Russell Wilson. It's astonishing. I have some numbers here.
Seattle fleeced Denver.
Yes, this is almost Herschel Walker territory trade that we're talking here. So Russell Wilson, I'll just even compare it to last year, which he got hurt. But last year he had 103 quarterback rating. This year, through 8 games he started, 81.4. In 8 games started, he has 7 touchdowns total in 8 games. For quarterback in this league, you only have 7. You're averaging less than 1 touchdown per game. Terrible. And he is converting. For his career, he averages, excluding this year, he has a first down percentage. Like every running or passing, the chances of Russell Wilson getting a first down was 33.4%. This year is 26.9. That is a significant drop. 7-point drop. That's huge. And 26.9% for a quarterback is bottom tier. You're talking like Joey Harrington territory. That's how bad that is.
I can't imagine being a Broncos fan right now, because as a Panthers fan, I knew my team was going to suck. As a Broncos fan, you are expecting so much more.
I mean, like
playoffs, possible Super Bowl.
And like now, you don't even have hope for next year. You're going to give up a top 10 pick. I mean, that's top 10. And defense is hard to, especially this elite defense they have. It's hard to be that good year to year. And you can't tell me that Russell Wilson doesn't have the pieces to score some points.
I mean, I know your top running back got hurt, but that's no excuse. And one of your best receivers is now hurt.
Here's another stat for you. First half of games, Russell Wilson has 6 touchdown passes, 1 pick, 96.4 quarterback rating. Second half, he has 1 touchdown, 4 picks, 65 rating. He is horrendous in the second half of these games. And we saw it as against the Colts. He choked that game away. There's another game, I forget who it was against, but he choked that game away. And this one you could say he did too, because the defense only allowed 17 points. He just couldn't do anything.
They could be in the Colts, Chargers, Jets, Titans, and they did lose by 10 to the Raiders. That's their biggest loss.
And funny enough, that's the best the offense has looked the whole year.
I know they keep saying, like, oh, well, Hackett's first year. No, like, you don't. I would be like, okay, whatever. If you suck, if you still had your first round pick, go get a good pick. But it's like, no, you don't have your first round pick. Like, fire Hackett. It's clearly not working.
Right. Yeah. There's like always to say, well, his first year, we can see some glimpses of hope that we've seen some good play for the Broncos offense. We've seen 0 good play the whole year. 0.
Not even one of the games have you looked at and been like, okay, you can build up. No.
Nathaniel Hackett could be the new Matt Rule.
Oh, he's definitely a new Matt Rule. There's no excuse for being this bad. There's no excuse.
Yeah,
Phillips said last week, I'd fire him right now and hire Frank Wright immediately, right there.
probably.
He's at least competent. But let's talk about the Titans. I think Ryan Tannehill had a pretty good game here. His leading receiver, Nick Westbrook, had 5 catches, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He does like to run.
I don't think they're going to be making any noise in the playoffs, but I mean they're going to be going to the playoffs. That's pretty much certain.
Unless Derrick Henry goes on another playoff run like he did a couple years ago, they ain't making it.
They play the Packers on Thursday night. If they win that, the 7-3 right there, boom, they will have a command. And they already do have a commanding lead in the division, but I mean that would pretty much just like wrap it up, I think. And then we'll move on to the next game, which was the Chiefs defeating the Jaguars 27-17. This was pretty much Mahomes just being Mahomes again. I think he's the leading MVP candidate right now. Mahomes and Hurts, I think, are probably the leading two, and Tua Tagovailoa. Josh Allen might be 4th place right now.
Oh, he's definitely 4th place now.
But the Chiefs, now they looks like they may have changed the running back room here. Looks like Isaiah Pacheco, Hunter, is that right?
Check.
Yeah, but anyway, so they have a more effective running game here, and Juju Smith-Schuster, I believe, got hurt this game, but they still had no issues winning this game. I will say for Trevor Lawrence, he is looking better. He played pretty well this game. And I think it's a pretty much official that we won't say every week from here on, but I think it's just official here. Christian Kirk, we're sorry. You're better than we thought. Our bad.
And you're worth every dollar they paid you.
And he looks good when I see him play. He looks legit. Next year when they get Calvin Ridley, Jaguars going to be looking pretty good.
It's going to be a heck of an offense.
They're still not going to win a lot of games, but the Jaguars, the only thing you really cared about this season is do we look any better? And you do.
Yeah.
You need to see improvement from Lawrence, and that's what you're getting. Now the defense, y'all just might need to bump up your defense, you know?
True. But also, you're also not that far away from winning your division, because your division,
Right.
That's true.
I don't see it getting that much better. Like,
The-
Titans are really your only threat. And,
Right, and they're kind of probably near the end of their window because Derrick Henry can only keep it up for so long, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
And Ryan Tannehill's still their quarterback, and there's a ceiling with Ryan Tannehill.
We're going to go into our next game. It was the Dolphins rolling the Cleveland Browns. Since Tua has come back from his concussion, 72.2 completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 370 yards per game, and 125.8 passer rating.
on the season, he has a 118 passer rating. He's only had 2 games this year where he had under 104 quarterback rating, and one of those was the game where he got hurt. So, I mean, he is playing lights out, super efficient, super clean, 18 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Yeah, so he went from a question mark to being a bona fide superstar.
Finally, Miami may have their Dan Marino successor.
Looking like their run game's also looking pretty good. They have a two-headed monster over there.
If Tua Tagovailoa stays at his 118-ish quarterback rating, that'd be the 5th highest of all time.
So it's a competition between Mike McDaniel and Brian Daboll for best hire of the year.
I mean, it's hard to go wrong there.
Yeah, true.
And Barry, don't forget, Kevin O'Connell was a hire this past year. So that's 3 knockout coaches so
That's
far.
true. I forgot about Kevin O'Connell. So yeah, all 3 of them been great hires. Then you got Nathaniel Hackett. You know how much the Broncos feel. They just whiff so badly.
Great job there, buddy. Yeah, should have thought of that one a little more.
I thought Tua would be okay this year. I didn't think he'll be this great.
I knew he put up numbers. I just didn't know he'd be this efficient.
Every week, these analysts need to keep apologizing to Tua for their old takes they had on him before the season.
Yeah, it's like some of you can walk some of that stuff right back. You know, enjoy your crow. So good win for them. New York Giants come back with winning off the bye. You know, beating the Houston Texans. Yeah, you can say it's Texans, but hey, you beat who's in front of you.
I love this. Every single game, no matter the opponent, besides the Seahawks game where they lost, has been a 1-score game. They are so consistent that no matter who it is, good or bad opponent, it's going to be close. And they play the Lions this week, so I would expect another close one.
Don't make it interesting. You know, our boy DJ just keeps winning. Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes does it again, of course, as he always does.
I'm going to be so intrigued with their decision at the end of the year.
Oh, you gotta pay him. You gotta pay him.
Well, you give him a blank check, whatever he wants. I don't know.
You don't normally see this many wins with that sort of numbers with the quarterback position anymore. I'm not saying James is playing bad or anything. He's playing pretty well. I'm just saying, like, in this day and age, it's just kind of uncommon to see that.
It is.
He does
well,
all
it's
the
inter-
little things.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting because you got several things. Well, they're also another team. At least you got stuff to build up. Saquon, you have to pay Saquon now,
No, you don't. No, you
which
can't.
is
You
going to be
cannot pay.
interesting. You're going to be kind of forced to with this season this year.
You don't.
You're kind of.
You could franchise him 1 year deal. I mean, that's what I would do.
You can probably
That's how I do.
I mean, they might. You just don't want to piss again. You want to be careful with that situation.
Instead of paying Saquon bukus of money, just draft some guy that's second or third round.
But Houston, same as usual. You want to lose these games. Davis Mills isn't showing anything to prove that he's anything more than a backup, which is
His
good.
neck gets thicker every week.
The only positive is that Damian Pierce looks like a stud, so it looks like you got something there.
Yep.
Other than that, but the next game we got on here is the Steelers beating the Saints 20-10. The Saints, I thought were going to win this game with how bad Pittsburgh has been, but I played the Steelers. I sucked against the Steelers when I was a Bengal. I'm going to suck against them when I'm a Saint, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, they just looked horrible. Granted, it's like their team's in transition, but also I felt people still didn't take into account of like. I felt when Sean Payton retiring, people did not take into account how much that team would go down. Especially the coach they got is not a good coach. I mean,
Look, if they don't make playoffs this year, he needs to be fired too. I'm just fire happy with all these coaches.
Kenny Pickett threw for 199, 18 completions. You know, it was a game. He had a touchdown and 51 rush yards.
Yeah, I mean, but a whole bunch of two bad teams facing each other. Not a whole lot of analysis needed on that.
The Colts beating the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, and Jeff Saturday starting 1-0 with his coaching.
I don't know if you've seen this, but people in the media and also Jim Irsay and all these Colts fans are taking victory laps, saying, "See, we were right. Jeff Saturday was a great move. You just beat the 2-7 Raiders. Calm down."
No, who was it? Keyshawn Johnson was talking about how Jeff Saturday was going to run the table, and I'm like, bruh, it's the Raiders. Yeah, like if it was the Chiefs, I'd be right there with you. I'm like, hey, maybe he was better than I thought he was, but yeah, it's
Which
the
is
Raiders.
funny because their ex-coach did beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean the Colts won. Jonathan Taylor looked like Jonathan Taylor finally. Just like besides the first week, this was the first game since week 1 where he's looked like Jonathan Taylor. And you got to love another Irsay lie of we're going to have Sam Ehlinger start, then right before game, Matt Ryan starts.
I feel bad for Sam Ehlinger. You know, they tell him he's going to start.
Tim Irsay's mood depends on how much drugs he's on. So.
Yeah. Wait, so you have two ridiculous owners facing each other. You have Jim Irsay versus Mark Davis.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Best haircut in the NFL.
You said best haircut. Now, let's just say the Raiders do have the second pick in the draft. I think they'll eventually win enough games to where they won't. But do they take Stroud or Young? And
I would trade it because you have a decent quarterback, and if you can get,
it's a dingy risk pissing off Devontae Adams.
Yeah, so you trade the pick, get your because you'll get a king's ransom for the pick.
So, I would agree. I would trade it, but that would be enticing to get one of those two guys.
There might be a little discussion over like. Let's think about this. There's going to be a lot of discussion.
You would have the conversation, of course.
I mean, honestly, I'll probably see what I can get for Carr first. I doubt there'll be any takers, so then I'll just trade the pick.
I mean, somebody would trade for him. It's just not going to be a lot.
Well, and I don't want to risk pissing off my franchise receiver that I just traded for and paid a lot of money.
Send Derek Carr to the Colts. That's where all the quarterbacks go.
Let's go into another game. It was the Dallas Cowboys losing in overtime to the Green Bay Packers. Mike McCarthy's return to Lambeau Field did not go as planned.
Look, this proves that Aaron Rodgers isn't completely dead because he even says, all right, guys, I know I haven't been playing well, but I know how to play against these Cowboys.
There's one thing I know.
This proves that he at least has a pulse.
He has something. I will also point out, Green Bay has finally started doing what we've been all yelling at them to do. They ran the stupid ball. 207 yards rushing, 39. Like, they ran more than Aaron Rodgers threw.
which has been the constant thing we've been saying. Your strength is in running.
Green Bay had beaten Dallas 9 of the last 10 times.
And,
Yeah.
and now I'm seeing Cowboys fans saying they need to start Cooper Rush over that.
There's
I mean,
no
still not.
way.
No, Cooper Rush is not as good as Dak Prescott, but I will say Dak Prescott as a whole this year has been rather disappointing. I think because last year he was super efficient. He's just showing again, like we said, they're going to be missing Amari Cooper, and you can see it when CeeDee Lamb is not there. He had a good game this game, by the way, but when CeeDee Lamb is not there, his other options aren't as good, and he's kind of forcing it. He had 2 picks, one in the red zone. That was a terrible mistake. And he's just showing, he's one that maybe needs a better team around him to
Shannon
win something.
Sharp did say that both picks were the receiver's fault because you don't run behind the safety, you run in front of them, and neither one did that.
True, but I mean, no matter who it is, quarterback's getting the blame for it. So
Yep. This is again us wondering like, what is Dak's level? Can he be like if they want to ascend to their defense is really good, their run game's solid. Can you ascend to Super Bowl status? And the question still, Dak is can Dak make the throws when you need it the most?
I keep saying last year was their chance. Last year, I think last year was the best chance he's going to have in his career to go to the Super Bowl.
I just don't think he is. I mean, like I said, he's not a bad quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's
No,
one that a lot of teams would like to have.
I think he is overrated at this point, just with how where people put him and what he's done so far. He's put up nice numbers, but 1-3 in the playoffs. No conference championship games.
Yeah.
He lost when he was highly favored, or I guess favored last year against San Francisco. So until he proves it, he's slightly overrated to me.
No, I agree because I think he's on that I would say third tier.
He's not an elite quarterback.
Yeah. Does this make me think the Packers are back? No, not really. I think this was a game at home. They wanted to beat. They really wanted to beat Mike McCarthy. I think it was personal, and I think they just did what they needed to do. Because and despite a collapse, they're not winning their division, unless the Minnesota just completely fumbles the ball. Do I believe they're going to do this again? That they're going to have 3 passing touchdowns. I don't know if they're going to keep running the ball like they should. So I don't know. I don't buy. I think this is just one of those 1 weeks.
But Philip, Aaron Rodgers he dropped another quote this week. You know how he had done a pass relax, and he had another one this year. He said, "We're not dead." So we'll see. Speaking of this, Philip, I'll tell you who is dead: the Rams.
Oh man, the Rams losing a division game to the Cardinals. Of course, it was Colt McCoy, not Kyler Murray, winning because Call of Duty's out. Them not only losing the game, but also losing their best receiver with Cooper Kupp going down.
Pretty much the only way they have to move the ball. The only way they move the ball is Cooper Kupp, and now he's hurt. Probably for the whole year, because why would you bring him back on a disaster season like this?
More of just thank God you won the Super Bowl last year, because this is just looking like it's about to implode.
Yeah, and Matt Stafford had a concussion. He didn't play this game, but they're 3-6. There's really no hope that you're going to get better. And so, do you bring him back? Why risk him? He had the elbow injury, now the head injury. Why bring him back? It's going to be really interesting what happens in LA for LA Rams this offseason, because they got a lot of soul searching to do. Do you keep these high-priced defensive pieces? What do you do on the offense? The offense is the more focused. I would put more of my attention to the offense, but it's not looking too good.
Are you still going to have your coach, or does he leave this year?
Yeah. Sean McVay may look at this and say, TV looks better than this.
Yeah, run game looked bad. Passing game wasn't much better.
There's nothing better. There's nothing good about the Rams this year, so I mean, it's done.
Let's go to our next game. It is going to be the Chargers losing another one as they lost to the 49ers in a close one. Chargers, I mean, I don't know. It's
like the curse of the Chargers. You just can't win close games.
Yeah,
I'm
kind of worried about the Chargers at this point.
Well, I'm not there yet because this was at the top 2 receivers. They're supposedly coming back this week.
Yeah.
So I think the offense is going to look a lot better. And I thought this game would be a blowout. I thought San Francisco would destroy them. So they kept it close for most of the games. So the defense played really well. But I said it before, and I'll say it again. Jimmy Garoppolo is the most carried quarterback in the league. There's a stat after this game. He is 10-2 when he throws 0 touchdown passes. I would wager that most quarterbacks, when they throw 0 touchdown passes, have a losing record, and it's not even close to being a winning record. I mean, good for him, I guess, but still, that's kind of very unusual.
I mean, we all know what's gonna be holding them back from getting to the Super Bowl is, from winning a Super Bowl, and that it's always been Garoppolo's. Can you count on Garoppolo when you need it? Solid quarterback, but that's still a good question. Chargers, at least they're 5-4, so they're still you're right now not far out of playoffs, so you still got a shot. If your receivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, come back next week, not horrible for you. You got an opportunity right there. You can probably make up some huge ground.
They played the Chiefs this week, so that's probably going to be an L. But after that, they play Cardinals and Raiders, so you probably pick up 2 wins there. But the last 3 games of the season, which could be huge for them to sneak into the playoffs, Colts, Rams, Broncos. I think those are 3 dubs right there.
Let's go back to the final game. It was the Washington Commanders beating Max's Philadelphia Eagles. Are the Eagles a fraud? Is this?
You get a lot of that. Look, I'm okay if the Eagles lost. That's not the problem. I knew they were going to lose. I knew they're not going to be 17-0. I'm not crazy. I don't think they're going to win every game. It's just the way they lost this game. They shot themselves in the foot, and they had a significant the Commanders had a significant ref advantage this game. This is ridiculous. That face mask on Dallas Goedert that they missed when the ref was staring right at the damn play, I don't know how he missed it. And 2, that significantly changed the game.
That was hard to see. I can't blame them. It was so hard to see.
I was telling Max earlier, I was like, it looked clean to me.
And not only that, Dallas Goedert got hurt in that play, so now they're going to be without him for probably about 4 or 5 weeks. So thanks, refs. And unless that call on can't even call it a knee because he didn't take a knee. He scrambled around and then went down. We're going to call that the end of the game.
He gave himself up. No, he gave himself up.
Ref, and I'm not even going to bleep this out. I'm going to keep it in. Ref, you can kiss my ass with that, okay? Can you imagine that? And I love the command. Oh, that was a good call. I'm like, okay, let's switch it around. If that was Jalen Hurts and your guy hit him, you'd be up in arms about that call. I don't want to hear it.
No, I think he's just taking it personally. I mean, the refs are doing the best they can.
All I'm saying is Cam Newton does not get that call.
No.
Why the hell is Heineke getting that call? That's what I want. It's not like he's the good quarterback.
It was kind of a smart play for the take the knee in. I mean, it
is, but I mean, for one, he also flopped on it, which I would expect him to do because you're trying to win the game. I'm not mad about that. You got to do what you got to do. But the ref, you see the ref threw that flag. He was proud to be throwing that flag. He said, "Yep, that's what I wanted." F you. One positive I will say, Jalen Hurts, who was an MVP candidate, he was down, and he had a chance to have an MVP moment, and he had a nice, beautiful deep ball to Quez Watkins, which could have been, and they would have been right there on the goal line or near goal line to potentially take the lead of the game, but Quez Watkins decided that he was just going to cough the ball up. But I do still think it looks good on Hurts that he came up big in that moment. His teammate let him down, but he still came up in that moment. And the only other issue I had is that Miles Sanders only had 1 carry in the first half, then they hardly ran the ball. This is a running team. So I think when they become too pass heavy, they become too predictable, and I think that was a big reason why they couldn't score in the first half after the first quarter. And the run defense has got to improve. I mean, when Jordan Davis comes back, it will get better, but it's still terrible. But still, the fact is they allowed 3 or 4 yards per rush, right? So, and they rushed 49 times. So they kept the time of possession huge, and they also converted 12 of 15 third downs because they never got stuffed in the run game. So it was the huge advantage to Washington at that point. So they just need to get better at stopping the run. And they played Jonathan Taylor this week, Derrick Henry coming up. So it's got to improve real fast.
I will say with some of those people who are going in like, oh, is this Eagles are fraudulent? It's like, look, first of all, it was a division game.
Yeah, division game.
Those they're always weird. I was like, even when the Patriots had their best seasons, they would lose to a bad Jets team or they would lose to a bad Miami team.
And I've seen some people like, well, I think the Vikings are better, which they could be. But to say that outright, as if the Eagles didn't just smash them on national TV, I mean, we're just going to forget about that game. And I see some people say, "Well, that was Kirk Cousins on Monday night." Why are we giving excuses of when they time they play? They play the game whenever they're scheduled. Okay, why does that matter? And I've also seen Cowboys fans like talking about the Eagles. I'm like, didn't y'all just lose to a Packers team that lost 5 games in a row? Like, I mean, don't talk about us right now. I mean, worry about yourselves.
Another week down in the Bucks. I'm Legacy.
And Max.
I'm Bobby.
And Hunter.
And see you next time.